Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alex of Astrology, and this is my full moon in Aries video for October 13th, 2019, as well as just the general energies for this entire weekend from now until Monday. And I think that this full moon is really important. I think that it's a huge step in this process that we see unfolding between now and the beginning of 2020. I think that this full moon plays a big part in helping us piece together our new identity that we're going to be harnessing in this new reality that is slowly but surely unveiling itself, this new world. But there's definitely some tension this full moon. There's some interesting energies to navigate. There is some triggers for sure in the chart. And we're talking about Aries. So there is this energizing kind of fiery, independent nature to this full moon. So let's pull up the chart and I will show you what I'm looking at here. So yes, we've got a full moon. Anytime we have a full moon, this is when the sun and the moon are in direct opposition to one another. So we've got the moon at 20 degrees Aries and the sun at 20 degrees Libra. So whenever we're talking about the Aries-Libra axis, we are talking about the self, Aries, and others, Libra. And the balance that needs to be found between honoring the needs of the sovereign self and going after what we desire while also maintaining harmony with other people in our lives. So Aries brings in the cardinal cross of Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra, which is coming up against obstacles within expectations of the family, Cancer, the job and career, Capricorn, and relationships in our life, Libra. So this Aries full moon is shining a light on the self. The sun at 20 degrees is shining directly on that moon and illuminating the self with all of its desires, all of its needs, its full personality. This is I am consciousness. I exist. This is who I am. I want to rise and do this with my life. That's what this Aries energy is all about. But when Aries actualizes what it desires, it necessarily causes friction with this cross of family, career, and relationship. So that's potentially what an aspect of the tension in this full moon is. Aside from the heavy focus we have on relationships, it's also about how do I do what I want in this world? How do I fully express myself when the current paradigm makes it so difficult? Why do I have to work this job that I'm not necessarily 100% satisfied with just because I need to have a roof over my head? Or why did I enter this marriage? The reasons that I did, I'm realizing had more to do with my family than they did with me, Cancer. Or how do I stay in harmony with my partner while also doing what I want to do? Because what I want to do and what my partner wants to do aren't always the same. And then we want to look at Mars and see what Mars is doing. And Mars is over there in Libra, not looking super happy because Mars does not like to be in Libra. Mars rules Aries. Mars wants to go after its own desires. And Mars is quincunx to Uranus. Mars quincunx to Uranus is another stress aspect. Mars quincunx to Uranus is I want to rebel. I want to break free. I don't want to be caged. It's not as bad as a square, but it is a tension. It's a tense aspect. Kind of feels like a dog with the hair raised on its back. It's like, oh, I want to do this. In this case, Mars in Libra wants to be in harmony, wants to make other people happy, wants to be in a relationship, but something is changing. Uranus in Taurus. And Mars is in opposition almost exact to Chiron in Aries, which is the collective identity wound. I want to be in a relationship, but I don't even really fully know who I am yet. Chiron in Aries. And then the real intensity of this full moon in many ways and throughout this whole week has been Uranus in opposition to Venus. Definitely not Venus's favorite transit, that's for sure. Uranus opposite Venus is associated with breakups, turbulence in relationships, shattering what was, replacing with something entirely new. So it's a buckle up and enjoy the ride moment for a lot of relationships, and for the collective, it is get ready for our values to completely shift. And we have to remember that Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. It's the Godhead. It's the third eye prying open to see the unseen vision, the vision not yet experienced. And when Uranus is transiting Venus, this is revolutionizing our values. And when Venus is in Scorpio, she wants the soulmate. She wants forever. She wants to completely merge with her partner and never, ever, ever let go. It's very femme fatale. It's very Romeo and Juliet. This is, I would die without you. I can't live without you. I would kill for you. I want you in this lifetime and every single lifetime following it. But it's manipulative. Venus in Scorpio is manipulative. It's obsessive. It's codependent. Venus in Scorpio has a deep-seated fear of abandonment. And once she gets her claws wrapped around something, she wants to possess that with which she desires and loves. Venus in Scorpio will love you more than you even knew was possible, in an almost scary way, because Venus in Scorpio wants to osmose with the object of its desire. It wants to become the other. So with Uranus transiting Venus, it's almost like Venus is in the electric chair and she's just being blasted with these volts of electricity from Uranus, and all of these themes around obsession and soulmates and love and sexuality and karma are really being stirred up, they're being electrified, and they're being changed. We notice that Pluto is at 20 degrees, so this is a direct square between the sun and the moon to Pluto. So because Pluto's in the mix, we know that there is an evolutionary force around this full moon. There is a transformative force around this full moon. And whenever we're talking about Pluto, there is intensity. This is the revolution of how the collective experiences the soulmate archetype. What is the current collective's idea around what a soulmate is and what it should be, and the process of that changing? And because the moon and the sun are in square to Pluto, this is transforming out of the old way of looking at relationships. And this has to do with friendships too. This is about diving deeper with friendships, becoming more vulnerable, exposing the depths of our soul, being unafraid to talk about our feelings, because this is bringing in the North Node in Cancer. Having deep psychological conversations where we're exposing more to one another. And we're not hiding behind the cold, stoic, external mask of Capricorn, which buries its emotions very deeply. So with Uranus transiting Venus, the collective is going through necessary disruptions, but subsequent upgrades in the way that we experience love, in the way that we experience partnership, friendship, and our values. And when our values change, our entire lives change. And because this full moon is in Aries, the desire is to break out of pre-existing conditions which are keeping us from actualizing our actual soul desire and wanting a clear runway to go after those, whatever they may be. And we've got a trine and a sextile from the sun and the moon to Jupiter and Sagittarius, which is about the quest for truth and massive expansion and growth. But there is this element in the chart of some conversations that need to take place, or an aspect of something being revealed. There's something about this chart that really feels to me like this conversation of like, hey, this is who I am. I finally have the courage to show you. I can't hide it anymore. I hope that you can accept me. I hope that things can remain peaceful, but I've got to go and do this now. With Uranus transiting Venus in Scorpio, this is part of the sexual revolution as well. Like, you know, a kid going to their parents who are very conventional, Pluto and Capricorn, their parents that like to really exert a lot of authority and control, and a kid going to their parents and being like, you know, Mom, Dad, I'm questioning my sexuality. I hope that you can still accept me into this family, but if not, I'm going to pack my bags and hit the open road. It's like that kind of a vibe. So yeah, it's about having the courage to be who we are and recognizing that with Uranus transiting Venus, we are all getting these sudden flashes of insight about who that even is, what our needs and desires even are. So it's an ever unfolding process. And I think that the lesson behind this full moon is having the transparency to be honest with other people about that process, even if we aren't entirely sure what that looks like at this time with that opposition to Chiron and Aries. God is still figuring itself out through all of us. So I think that this is a big step in the story, actually, as we approach these eclipses in 2020. I think that this full moon is a massive step in that direction, and a step in the direction of dismantling the old paradigm and ideas around the nuclear family, ideas around why people even come into partnership in the first place. Are the current ideas around partnership even healthy? If they're not, what needs to change? And this is about just balance in general. The reasons why people pick the careers that they do. If our values are changing, that's going to change as well. And this full moon provides the platform to make choices around what we actually want and what makes us actually happy. Definitely a fiery full moon. If nothing else, it's definitely going to illuminate the resistance. As I said, whatever is holding us back from coming into that full Aries expression, that full zest for life, that feeling of being fully alive and empowered, whatever is standing in our way, because Mars is the ruler of this chart and Mars is afflicted, it's being blocked somehow. Whatever is blocking us is going to come to light so that we can make whatever changes we need to make internally and externally to step fully into that Aries warrior power. So I hope you guys have a good one. If you would like to reach out to me for a reading, I'm available for that this week. I will put my website right here, as well as down in the description box. You can go there, click on book a reading, and you will be directed to information on how to set that up. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I will see you next week.